begin because of some technical glitch we couldn't start earlier, and a special thanks and special applause to TM Misha as usual. Yeah. He is a Superman, he is a technical guy. Without him, we would be at loss. He has a speech, by the way, today, and still he is all about getting the meeting sorted for those who have joined online. And a special congrats to those who have made an effort to come and be here in person. Please give a good round of applause to yourself. Great. So let's begin now. For the benefit of guests especially, I would like to give a small briefing. Toastmasters, Dubai Toastmasters Club has been established for more than 25 years now. And as you have already noticed, it's all about fun and learning. Here we provide a very positive learning experience, which is based on the 4 principles of Toastmasters International, which is very important, which is respect, service, integrity, and excellence. We work based on this and ensure that the members always develop and become better communicators, better leaders, thereby attaining better self-growth in personality as well. And of course, grab every opportunity that comes along your way, but please do keep in mind we do have taboo topics on which we don't speak about, which is politics, sex, and religion. And those who have joined online, please mute yourselves, and you may choose to keep your video on, but it is projected onto the screen. As you can see, you might not be able to notice, but it's going on as an infinite loop. So if you're sure that your video might not be a distraction to those who have joined, to the others in the room, you can keep your video on. And this meeting is recorded. So in case if you wish your audio or video not to be featured, please do write to us. I'll be putting the email ID in the chat box very soon. And those who are driving, please disconnect and join back when it is safe to do so. So snacks and refreshment will be served during the break time, which will be around 7:45. The toilets are towards the side of the entrance. And that's it. Let's begin because already we had a slight delay. And by the way, I am a fairy today, just in case it was not obvious. Whoever comes and talks to me today will get a not Asmin, 2 jellies from me. All right, so let's begin today. Our president couldn't join us because of some essential work meetings. So let me take the opportunity to welcome our acting president for the day, our VP Education. I mean, describing about her would take some more time, so let me conclude it. It's as always Johnny on the go, always ever energetic, ever enthusiastic. She participates in different kind of contests all over the UAE and just grabs awards just like I go to grocery shopping, a kilo of best evaluator, a half a kg of best speaker, and a half a kg of best debater, and so on. So let me not delay it further. Let me give a warm welcome with a very loud round of applause to acting Toastmasters Club, Toastmasters Vivi.
Thank you, Rashmi, and hello, D-Chaps. Good evening, D-Chaps.
Good evening.
Can you hear? Am I audible in this mask?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I wasn't aware that I was supposed to be the acting president today until about a couple of hours. So that's why I am in my costume, which I had prepared 2 weeks ago, ever since RTA Modi told us that we have to come in a character that we love to. And here I am, as you all would know which character I am in. I'll leave that for the Toastmaster of the day to describe what character I am in. So let me start with a small story. Now, once there was a young boy, and he had gone to buy ice cream. So he went and he asked the shopkeeper how much for this double scoop. So the shopkeeper said it's $5. Then he said, what about the chocolate flavor one? He said $5. What about the strawberry flavor? $5. Then he said, okay, what about the single scoop? So he said $3. So he said, okay, give me a single scoop strawberry. He sat, he ate his ice cream, and then when the bill came, the bill was $3, but this boy paid $5. $3 for the ice cream and $2 for the tips. So what is this? What do you get out of this story? For some, it may evoke generosity. For some, it may evoke gratitude, generosity from the boy's side, gratitude from the shopkeeper's side. But when I think of this story, what evokes in me is abundance. Abundance is that mental state where we focus more on giving than on what we want. And with Ramadan coming in a couple of days, I want you all to hold on to that thought of abundance and let's focus on giving rather than wanting this Ramadan season. Okay, now before we move forward, I would want the benefit of the guests, I'll share a presentation. So this is our 703rd meeting that we're having today. Toastmasters International is a non-profit educational organization which was started in 1924. Headquarters are in Colorado, USA. We have 300,000 plus members in 149 countries and 15,300 clubs. 150 clubs around uni. Our headquarters are in Colorado. Our international president is Margaret Page, DTM, and our CEO is Daniel Rex. So this is how we are. We are a club, a couple of clubs from an area, a couple of areas from a division, a couple of divisions from a district, and districts from regions. So we have our international president, DTM Margaret Page. Then we have our regional director, Alicia. Then we have our district director, DTM Gurpinder Kun. We have our division director, DTM Ajita Savam. We have our area director, Anita Biju, who's present with us today. We have our president, Sagar Kurana. And this is the ExCom team. We call ourselves the Unstoppable Heroes. With Sagar as the president, me as the VP Education. We have Noora as the VP Membership, Toastmaster Nisha as the VP Public Relations, Tissa as a treasurer, Sabir as a secretary, and a fairy angel who just introduced me, Toastmaster Rashmi. The fairy has gone somewhere, I think. Our angel has disappeared. Okay, so Toastmasters helps people be more confident speakers, communicators, and leaders. We have a program known as Pathways. We have 11 pathways, and the core competencies of these pathways is public speaking, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership, management, and confidence. So this is all what you get in any of the pathways that we go through. So coming to Dubai Toastmasters Club, it was started on April 1st, 1996. The second club in UAE. It's the mother club of Dubai and Northern Emirates. We have a wealth of experience accumulated in the last 25 years. We have great experienced Toastmasters like DTM Colonel Murad, who is like one of our oldest members, to the youngest member, Toastmaster Soham and Toastmaster Kareem, who are our finalists today. And besides learning, as you all have seen, there is a lot of fun. As you see over here, Toastmasters meeting are just not meetings, they're meetings incorporated with a lot of fun. Because as our founder Ralph C. Spedley said, we learn best in moments of enjoyment. Thank you, Sabir. Now let me invite some guests today to introduce themselves. And starting with Santosh. Come here. Okay, now I'm getting very stuffy in this, so I will have to remove this for now.
So thank you very much. So thank you, all of you. No. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. My name is Santosh Nair. So this is my first time in the Toastmaster. So I've been exploring in Google in terms of how do I improve my public speaking skills, interact with more the bigger community. So I came across to one of the nicest clubs here. And I'm sure that I'll do my best in the next 6 months or 1 year of time. So best of luck.
Amazing. Give a round of applause. Yes, you. Yeah. Come.
Just introduce.
Yeah, just introduce yourself and tell us how did you know about the bike.
The cameras and so that's why I want you to come there. Where you can stand there.
Is it recording? Yes.
Do you want to stand up
Do you
there?
want to come?
Yeah, it's okay.
Just stand up there and tell.
We can stand up there.
Hi, my name is Raj.
That is for the online one.
Hi, my name is Raj. I'm from Saudi Arabia. Actually, I'm a dietitian, clinical dietitian. So this is my first time I come to this session. I like to learn about how to speak in public or like any program. So I need to take some experience. So today I came here to join with you guys to know about this and learn more experience, how to communicate with others and everywhere, not only in like some parts of some government or with patients. I need to know also with other people how to communicate more.
And you, sir? Want to come here?
No, it's okay. But I don't know this. I have to.
For the online.
For online. Okay. My name is Ahmad. I'm Atik. Okay. I'm not here to talk, but same with Ras said, I'm here to learn some skills about how to speak to public, how to get experience about. That's it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And here you are invited. Online guest, Laura. Oh, sorry, come. I missed you. You seemed like already a Toastmaster, so I thought you were one
No,
of
I
us.
just look like that. So hello everyone, my name is Mirza and I live in Dubai for the past 8 years. And one of the skills that I lack is public speaking. And that is the one thing that brought me here. And I hope I will gain some skills through these people, the experience who already gain. I can see all the experienced people. I'm kind of nervous. I know how I'm feeling, and I will sure that I will overcome through this one. So I'm here to start my journey as a leader of public speaking, and I hope I will overcome it.
Correct, you are right. And from our online guest, can we have Melora?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Melora and I'm actually a Toastmaster, part of a Toastmaster club from Mangalore, India. And since we were online all this while, I continued staying as a member of the same club. And now that things are slowly moving on to offline meetings, I've been looking at different Toastmaster clubs here in Dubai to become a member of one of the clubs. So looking forward to your meeting today. And hopefully I will be joining soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Melora. Welcome to the meeting today. I'm looking forward to seeing you being a member of the White Toastmaster Club.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can we have guest Sai? Guest Sai? Okay, I'll come back to you later. Guest Charu? Guest Charu? I think something wrong with the screen. Screen froze there.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Charu. Can we have your introduction and how did you come to the White Toastmasters? Sorry, we can't hear you, Charu. I think you're breaking. So I'll come back to you at the end of the meeting. I'll come back to Kura as well at the end of the meeting. In the interest of time, first, before I introduce the Toastmaster of the day, let me acknowledge some dignitaries over here, starting with Colonel Murad, TM Ramesh, Toastmaster Botro, Area Director Anita Viju. We have all our wonderful Toastmaster members of GTC. And now, without further ado, let me introduce the Toastmaster of the day today, who is an inspiration to me. When I asked him to introduce himself and what he likes to do, the list was endless, and that's why I have a paper and pen. And I'm not going to read all, but I'll just tell you some of the things that he is into. He's into salsa, he's into Tai Chi, he's into karate, and there's so many other things. The list goes on that he is learning and putting his potential into. He is a teacher. He's been a teacher of English, and now he is a teacher of business communication. He produces Shakespeare theatricals, and that's one of the inspiration of today's theme, where we all were asked to dress in the character of the role we'd like to play. So put your hands together for a round of applause for our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Bob.
I think I have this one, so I'm okay. Could we just check that everybody can hear me here and online at the same time?
Yes.
We're good, we're good, we're good. Okay, now I think Toastmaster Bosco said it best in the last meeting, that there can be a tendency for routine to crop in because Toastmaster meetings tend to include the same elements. So we have a theme to try and break up what might become a monotonous presentation. And also, as our indefatigable Dewey pointed out, to have a bit more fun, just to make sure that people learn from this. The theme for this evening, I would like to introduce, if we could share my PowerPoint, and the first picture slide from that would be wonderful. Thank you very much. We're having technology again. Technology is great. We're back a bit. That's the last. Yeah, and the next slide. Right, here are the different characters that we'll be looking at this evening. Now, I asked each of the members, the role players for this evening, to please tell me about the roles that they play in their everyday lives. And you can probably guess some of those, but the list will go on and on and on. I also asked them, because I have this interest in theatrics, could they tell me which role they would like to have? Now I was thinking of actors, actresses, people taking on other parts, and different people interpret this in different ways. So we have a couple of real characters, real people who were referred to. Now, to thank, first of all, our indefatigable Dewey and our online timer. So Dewey's roles are mother, wife, daughter, sister, sister-in-law, friend, Toastmaster, neighbour and colleague. She really put the work into this. I like that kind of energy and that sort of effort. And her character, the one that she would like to be if she could, is the professor from Money Heist. I think you may have recognised. And again, we love the dressing. The reason being that he's the most intelligent character there and always manages to provide a solution for whatever problem comes up. Characteristics we can all, I think, value. Karim, thank you, is an online timer, has been a member for 1 month, lists himself as being a parent, a child, and a spouse, and would like to be the godfather. Now, he didn't give reasons, but I think most of us would like to be in that position. There are some people who would be better off sleeping with the fishes. We all have our list. We can relate. Now, my reason for getting into this partly is because I have a connection with theatrics, but also connected with how I came into Toastmasters. Toastmaster Noura is not here tonight, but we met at an improv workshop. She told all of us about this, and myself and a colleague, Maya, came down. Hello, Noura, on cue, on cue. Brilliant timing. We came down thinking that Toastmasters is all about speeches, which admittedly is a large part of it, but we then realized subsequently that the roles that make up Toastmasters are shared around and people get to play them. They are essential, not simply important. Without the roles, there would be no Toastmasters. And after being a grammarian, a word of the day master, table topics setter, and now coming up to Toastmaster of the Day, I began to realize that this is very important. It's the leadership ideas which cannot be attained unless you play the roles. Now, we love including quotes in Toastmasters, and there is a concept which is accredited to many, many different writers. I suspect that it was first said in a cave somewhere in a language at times forgotten. The version which I prefer comes from Terry Pratchett, who's one of my favorite authors, who said it as, wisdom comes from experience. Experience often comes from a lack of wisdom. And I think unless you've gone through doing the stupid things first, you never quite get up to that stage of knowing what the right things are to do. So we're going to examine this question tonight and look at some of the roles that people play. I would like to do a dramatic gesture now and get the next slide to come up, please. Now, you may not know Dorothy Gibson. She was at one point famous around the world for an admittedly very short period of time. She was on the Titanic. Apparently, this was the clothing that she wore when she got onto the lifeboat and escaped to save her life. She arrived back in New York with all of the other survivors. She was an actress, so immediately she started talking with producers and directors and filmmakers. And 29 days after the sinking of the Titanic, the first movie about the sinking of the Titanic went into cinemas. It was 10 minutes long. It used apparently a lot of stock footage of icebergs floating across the sea, which before CGI was quite acceptable to all audiences. It was a furious hit. It was box office all around the world. Not quite a blockbuster, but for the day, that was it. Now, the reason for showing it, apart from the fact that it's an interesting story, is that a few of the people who, role players, said that although they had roles, they'd never really thought about or didn't. This is an iconic, probably instantly recognized all of these. One of the greatest movies of the last century, one of the scenes which is etched into the minds of many. Sorry, I'm getting echo coming back at me there. Many moviegoers around the world, students of cinema, lovers of Alfred Hitchcock, know that this came from the movie Psycho. Now, I put this up partly by way of atonement because for many, many years I've been telling my students a fact, I thought, about this movie, which was that Alfred Hitchcock did not believe that Vivien Leigh was an adequate actress. And in the scene where she had to turn around, discover herself disturbed in the shower by somebody who was about to stab her to death, and look not at somebody who was about to stab her to death, but at a camera lens, he did not believe that she would have the facial expression and the scream that would convince audiences she thought she was about to be killed. So the story was that Hitchcock arranged with his special effects people. He had a switch that would turn the shower water from just pleasantly warm to icy cold. And so as she turned around to face the camera, he would flick the switch and she would go, "Ah!" And this would convince everybody. I discovered in researching for tonight's performance that this is a myth. It never happened. It's been told about her for years and years and years, including by me. I hold my hand, I am guilty, I have sinned. But there is actually one fact about this, which not many people know, and you can tell your friends about it when you go home. The film was the first in America to show. Would anybody like to guess what it was?
Beer. Beer.
It's actually a lot worse than that. This was the first movie Americans actually saw a toilet flush. I think the moral of the second slide is sometimes the things that get known about you are not true, and sometimes it's the trivial things that get passed around. Dramatic gesture. This is not actually taken from the movie, which I want to refer to. This is Michael Imperioli. He played a character called Spider in a film called Goodfellas, which this is not. But it does reflect, because in the movie, he was actually shot dead at one point while at a party, holding his glass in his hand. So they played the scene, squibs went off and blood flew from his, and he fell down holding the glass, which should have been a sugar glass, which would break safely on the floor. Now, for some reason, the props department handed him a real glass made of glass, and when he fell over, it broke and cut his hand. Badly enough that they thought he needs to go to hospital. He really needs stitches in this. We've got to do something about it. When he arrived at the hospital, he walked in like, hey, hi, guys, can somebody give me... And the staff were shocked. He was grabbed, he was thrown onto a gurney, he was wheeled into the operating theatre. The surgeon came out with the mask on and the scalpel in his hand and began to cut the clothes from him and discovered wires and plastic bags and no holes in his body. Now, he had been thinking, hey, this is a great hospital, you know, they really take care of you in this place. But the surgeon at that point did not quite see the funny side of all of this and ordered him to get himself back outside and wait his turn. And still, hey, but my hand, but my... Sometimes the things that happen, he had a cut hand. The worst things that happen are not the obvious ones. There are things going on that other people do not see about you in your roles. Now, Shakespeare actually went into this, of course, and he said all the world is a stage. All the people on it are actors. They have their entrances, their exits, and he said in his life, one man, sorry for the sexism, but it's Shakespeare, what can you say, plays several parts. He then went on to describe the ages of man and what roles he played at different ages, which I think is okay, but not quite as interesting as the roles that we actually play through our lives, through every day, to all of the different people. Now, we began with Dewey, with Karim, and we will continue with a lot of other people, the roles that they play, the connections that they have in their lives, the things that we do, which other people see us as. What I would then like to do then is to move on. I would like to introduce our word master, who is Rashid Hussain. Now, the word master's job, I will mostly leave to the word master to explain, but the concept is that we have to expand vocabulary and we do it a word at a time, so as to try and incorporate these words into the use. Now, Rashid Hussain has been a member for 5 years. When asked about the roles he plays, he said, I play them all, which I think is an interesting answer, which we'll come back to later. But the person that he would like to be, the picture was on, it's now gone, is Abdul Sattar Edhi, who was a famous Pakistani philanthropist, organized the largest chain of volunteer ambulances in the world among many, many other philanthropic endeavors. Again, as I said, not all people learn to be fictional characters. Some take their roles as role models and would like to be like these people. Can I pass it over to Rashid for the word today?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rashid Hussain. So first of all, I want to ask why we are here today. For me, because to enhance my skill set. So as we are aware that knowledge is power. So knowledge and attitude is playing a big role in our success. So in Toastmaster, we are fine tuning our knowledge and our attitude. So as a word master, I will present a word of the day today. It is my pleasure to present the word of the today, which is smiles. Yeah, word of the today is smiles. It formed from two words, smile and eyes, sound of the eyes. So becomes smiles. Smiles mean the smile with your eyes. It got popularity and famous during the pandemic situation when we have mask, but our eyes are talking. So first, actually, this first known used by the US model Tahir Banks. So she used this word in a TV show, first time in 2009. Right? So it can be used as noun and as verb. So there are some uses. It is time to rise and smiles. My daughter taught me how to smile. The result of my daughter brings smiles to me. So now I encourage some of you to use this word and make some sentences. Yes, Dev.
I think today with my costume and the mask, you couldn't see my smile, but you could see my smiles.
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I have a question actually. So this first time I'm keeping the time. So it's from the starting when you started, or
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
okay, okay. So it's the green for you.
So anybody else want to use this word? Smile, yes.
Our timer was very serious, but his eyes is smiling.
Anybody else from online? So somebody else want to use from the guest? Smile, very simple, short.
Yeah, I can relate to it because every day I'm interacting with the guest. When I give them a smile, I have to express through it. So it's a smile every day I use it.
So use this word whole during the meeting, and I will note it down who is using this word. And at the end of the meeting, we will discuss it again. So I hope that it is easy to use in the meetings and to use in your personal life as well. Thank you. Over to you.
Smiles. It's the word of the time, isn't it? It's a definite COVID word. Now, the next part of our meeting is the project speeches. Pathways are the way that people move through Toastmasters to gain the experience and play out this side of Toastmasters, the non-rule side. Tonight, we have 3 speakers. They will be evaluated so that they get feedback on their performance. I would like to ask the evaluator of our first speaker to come forward and explain the objectives. So can I ask Toastmaster Abdelati Abouassi?
Thank you so much. Of the day. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The purpose of this speech is for the member to present a speech and receive feedback from the evaluator. Basically, the note of the evaluator will deliver a well-organized speech by giving a specific feedback on the topic. Will give a specific feedback on the body language, on the speaking style. Also, we will look at the humorous, the informational, or the style of the member, how they will act in the speech. This is basically the core or the special elements that we will evaluate the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our first speaker is Toastmaster Mufaza Shaban, who has been with Toastmasters for 8 months. She describes herself as a loving and caring spouse and a commanding daughter, which I think is a lovely way to put yourself. Now, as for a fictional character, again, she prefers to be herself, which, why not? Can I invite Mafaza to the stage?
The one thing that we all know is everyone faces challenges in life, but it is with the thing that you love most, which you have the greatest test. Fellow Toastmasters, Toastmaster of the day, dear guest, good evening. When I was a kid, at the age of 5, on the first day of my nursery, the first question that was asked by my teacher was, who do you want to become? My reply was, I want to become a lawyer one day. I was the youngest of 7 siblings in my family. So I happened to be a most naughtiest and playful kid. But my father wanted to give me a best surrounding where I could focus only on studies. So he decided to move from the town where we lived from, which is called Colombo, to a city, to a village where I don't have any other distraction. So we moved there. There you are not allowed to go outside after 6 p.m. In a nutshell, if I want to say, you want to be a girl if you are a girl. You want to behave like a girl if you are a girl. So I went there, joined my new school. In my new school, the first question that the teacher asked was, what is your ambition? I said, I want to become none other than a lawyer. I studied there in my new school, in my village school. My father put me for some extra classes so that I can focus on studies more. I did my O-level, which is ordinary examination, O-level well, and then there came a stage where I have to do my A-level. A-level is a main stage where I have to decide on my subjects, which subject I'm going to choose. If I want to go into law faculty, it is inevitable to choose logic and political science as a subject. Unfortunately, that school did not have a qualified teacher for logic syllabus. So they did not have logic syllabus in their curriculum. Irrespective of several requests I made to my principal, she said, no, we cannot have a dedicated teacher, or you cannot have this subject when you're studying in the school. So I called my father. My father said, it's not end of the world. We'll go back to our townhouse and you can join in your town school. So we went back to my town school and I joined there. I studied there. I felt so many discrimination when I go back to my old school. Then also I attended so many private classes to do my A-level best. I did my A-level best, and then I was waiting for 3 months to see my result. 3 months is over, results was issued. I rushed to my school with my brother to see the result, which was hanging on the notice board. There I saw Mufaza, beside my name, logic, political science, Islamic civilization, 3 A's. I was so gratified. I was so overwhelmed. My whole family was smiling, and they are also so happy. And then I had to wait for another three weeks to know the Z score, which faculty I'm going to get into. Unfortunately, the test came, which in which I love most. My Z score was efficient only for the arts faculty. I did not want to go to arts faculty. I really wanted to go to law college. Somehow I finished my first year in the arts faculty in University of Colombo. And then suddenly my father called me and said, Mufaza, look at this newspaper which says the government of Sri Lanka is conducting a law entrance examination where 30,000 people can sit for that examination, and they will choose 100 people who can go into the Sri Lankan Law College and they can become finally a lawyer. So I went there, I studied there for 6 months. Before 3 days of the final examination, I went to revision class. After revision class, I came back to my home, and then I saw a huge crowd standing in front of my home. I rushed to my mom and asked her, what is it? She said, your father got heart attack and then she's no longer with us. 3 days for my final examination, law college examination. I did the examination. I could see nothing but my father's face on the paper. I failed in that exam. I lost my father, I lost my exam. I did not give up. I attended again, once again on the next year, I passed. I became a BA from university, lawyer from law college. And then my mother, I was dreaming of becoming a leading lawyer in Sri Lanka, but my mother wanted not to go to do any jobs, but she wanted me to get married first. So her standard was very high. She was looking for a doctor, engineer, a lawyer. Suddenly there is a twist, the climax of the story. One guy called me and said, Mufaza, do you remember me? Then when I was asking for his detail, he said, he was my school friend, in the village school friend. So I can just, something flashes back to my mind. Oh, distinctly, that was that guy who was following me in the school days, and he adored me, but I did not want to focus on anything other than studying. So he said, do I know any doctor's oncologist number? Oncologist is a cancer doctor. So I gave my friend's number, who is a doctor. So with help of her, he admitted her mother in the hospital. And then when I go to the hospital, there I saw the entire patients was greeting him with a full smile. I wanted to go and see his. So they are saying that person, that guy, literally knows everybody's story in that ward. He was gifting them some injections, fan, this because that's a government hospital. He was gifting them. Then that's when I decided what I want is not a person who is a doctor or a lawyer, but I want a son of his quality, where the son will take care of his mother nicely. And then I decided to marry him because of the love he showed towards his mother. Finally, I got married to him because of the reason that I will get a son like of his quality. Now it's been 7 years, and 7 long years I am waiting to have a baby, but I cannot conceive naturally. It is in that which you love the most that you find the greatest test. Thank you.
Thank you. Very powerful story there. Now, could I ask the timer to please set the timer for 30 seconds? And if we can get feedback from everybody online, please put in the message. In the room, we have space for notes. Some things that you would like to say back to them, something good, something, yeah.
20 seconds.
We're at the time. Thank you very much. So I would like to ask the evaluator of our second speaker to come up. Toastmaster Sally, if you could come, and I'll yield you the stage, and you can introduce and explain the topic for the second speech. Thanks.
Good evening. The purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmaster intention mentoring. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspects of a previous experience as a protege. All the best.
And can I invite the stage the second speaker, who is Mikhail Korochin. Apologies if I'm murdering the pronunciation of his name, commonly known as Misha. When asked about the roles he plays, he said parent, spouse, father, brother, son, clubmate, colleague, and self. I particularly like the self at the end. We all play a role. You probably can guess if you can see on camera. Could you give them a quick twirl so everybody can see your t-shirt? The character he would really like to play is Darth Vader, who may be taken as being a bad guy, but he is loyal. He keeps commitments, he takes risks, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty, and in the end was willing to admit all of his mistakes. Actually, somebody to look up to in many, many different ways. Can I please invite Misha to the stage?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Good evening, online audience. It's a privilege to be here today. And let me please share my story. Blame yourself. You're not good enough. Try harder. Do your homework. Do your job now. Those were a golden standard of words which I heard as a child. My teachers were people with miserable salaries who didn't like, who hated their jobs and didn't care about the students. Well, not all of them, of course, but even exceptions had attitude like, no round things in the square club. There are only two ways how to behave. First, follow my rules. Second is wrong. And I never realized it could be any different until I watched the Star Wars saga. Definitely, I lived in Darth Vader's world, where mentors set the direction and punish any alternatives. The other world, the world of Jedi, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, serious guys with smiley faces, they never judge. They provide guidance and always pass on what they have learned. And of course, I fell in love with this movie, and I wanted to be Luke Skywalker. And of course, I desired to have someone like Yoda in real life who could show me how to use my powers. But my first choice of this kind of mentor was my judo coach. Well, he more or less looked like Yoda. He spoke like Yoda. He had the special police forces background. He facilitated my physical activity and pushed me into professional sport. But one day I asked him, who can I be after my sport career is over? He kept silent for a couple of minutes and said, Misha, you could be coach like me. Well, I was not sure I wanted it. Also, my parents had other plans for me. Later, inspired by a trilogy of Desire by Theodore Dreiser, I enrolled in institute to learn economics and finance. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, make big money. And I was looking for someone who could show me the fast way to success. But instead, boring teachers taught me about gross domestic product and generally accepted accounting principles. And I realized they are not successful businessmen. They have nothing, they didn't know nothing about entrepreneurship. So my first business mentor was my boss. I was working for a small import-export trading company, and I learned from my boss a couple of things. The first was buy without having the money, sell without having stock. Somehow it worked for him. He always looked successful and wealthy. But the second thing was money tomorrow is always cheaper than money today. So he never paid in time. And half of my job was lying to suppliers and clients about shipment terms and payments. He was trying to convert me in his business approach, but it was not my cup of tea. Many years later, having sales and marketing background, I realized how important it is to have someone who can listen without judgment, who can provide guidance, feedback, answer questions. But I never had such a person, especially like Yoda. Some people gave me good and bad advice about my career, my personal growth, but it always was about particular topic, not about me, not about my life goals. So I kept looking for my personal guru until one day I heard a Buddhist story. Two monks were looking into the water where some fishes were hiding in the shadow from the hot sun. And one monk said, "It's nice to be a fish, isn't it?" And the other asked, "How do you know how to be a fish? You are not a fish." And the first answered, "How do I know what I know? You are not me." And something just clicked in my mind. My mentors are not me. So there is no single Yoda for me either. It just doesn't work like that. And I understand one thing. I am very, very lucky because there is army of Yodas around me. And I can pick up only those things that resonates with my values. And I'm doubly lucky to have amazing mentors here in Dubai Toastmasters Club. Thank you for that, my friends. Over to you.
Yeah, big round of applause, please. Very kind. Again, could I ask the timer to give us 30 seconds just for everyone to note down something that they would like to give us feedback, Felicia? Anything good, any suggestions for improvement? Don't think there'll be many suggestions for improvement. And can I then, get words in the right order. Can I please invite the third evaluator, Toastmaster Ravish and Paramama, to come up and introduce us? Thank you.
The speaker is attempting engaging humor part, level 2, project number 1. Know your sense of humor. The purpose of this speech is to begin developing a collection of humorous stories and to present a speech that includes humor. Speeches for 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, our third speaker, Fosco Mascarenas, who is known for many people around here, has been a member of Toastmasters for 6 years. Describes the role that he plays as being a father to 2 beautiful daughters. Now, asked who he would like to be, is himself as version Fosco 2.0. So he could go back over the life and perhaps make more interesting mistakes than he did the first time through. Can I invite to the stage Fosco Mascarenas, please?
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. How are you?
Great.
What did I hear? Can you repeat?
Great.
Good, great, good. I have a follow-up question. Are you sure? Okay, let me rephrase the same question. Did any of you go to a pharmacy today to buy something? Anyone? There is dead silence. And the pleasantries is going into unpleasantries. Are you wondering why I am asking you this question?
Yes.
I will think. This is to understand demand and supply ratio for me. We are a group of 25-30 people in this room, and almost none of us visited a pharmacy in this one day. So, have you ever wondered why there are so many pharmacies out there? Today, when you go back home, just start counting the number of pharmacies till you reach. I am sure you will lose count. Let me tell you about the street where I live. The first shop is a pharmacy. Then there is a grocery. Then there is a pharmacy. Then there is a laundry. Again, there is a pharmacy. There is a beauty salon. Again, what is it? Pharmacy. There is a grocery. It goes on like that. So the street starts with the pharmacy and ends with the pharmacy. I have a habit of going for a daily walk. So normally this is the regular occurrences. One day a shop will be closed and there will be a signboard closed for renovation. The next day, when I go for the walk, I will see a brand new pharmacy. Okay. And I don't want to name this pharmacy, but he could have named himself as Faster Pharmacy because he opens pharmacies faster than we fall sick. There was a Bin Awad cafeteria. Just like that, when I went for a walk one morning, Bin Awad cafeteria was closed. There was a board closed for renovation. And the next day, what did I see? Bin Awad Pharmacy. And the signboard below it said, franchisee of Faster Pharmacy. Last month, I went to a shopping mall for some purchase. I entered the shopping mall. And as I entered, I saw a very beautiful shop. It was like a cosmetic shop. And guess what? What was it? Once again, it was Faster Pharmacy. And there was a beautiful Filipino girl who welcomed me with a smile. Yes. And she called me into the pharmacy. I kept walking, but she kept walking by my side. Sir, we have an offer. I kept walking. Sir, it is Valentine's Day offer. And she had a box in her hand. I asked her what it is. She said, blood pressure monitor, sir. And I told her, I don't need a blood pressure monitor. And I kept walking. She didn't give up. She kept walking with me and said, sir, if not now, maybe in future you'll need it. Please buy it, sir. It is an offer, sir. I said, no need. And she didn't give up. She said, sir, if not for you, you can gift it for your wife for Valentine's Day, sir. I said, that will be the last Valentine's Day that we are celebrating. And moreover, I know exactly when my wife's blood pressure will rise. So I don't need a blood pressure monitor. And she trusted a flyer in my hand. And I kept walking and she left and she said, sir, hope to see you next. I said, no, I will not get fall sick and come back to a pharmacy. Please leave me. And that leaflet, it said, what? Opening shortly. Faster supermarket. Okay, just imagine it is going to the next level. You will go to a supermarket, you find one entire shelf filled with Panadol. Okay, and one entire shelf filled with, some cough syrup. I know what Saleh is imagining now. Some naughty thoughts he's having about what he can see in the shelf. Saleh. So this, I think, after a certain time, the pharmacies will beat the population rate. Okay. So recently I went for a motivational seminar and the speaker was, narrating a story very passionately. He was saying that there was an island and a shoe company sent the salesman there, and the salesman went and he came back and said, zero market because no one is wearing shoes. Then the company sent one more person and he went there and came back very excited and he said, there is 100% market because there is no shoes. That was the eureka moment for me. You know why? Because I think that second salesman came and joined the pharmaceutical industry. And that is why, according to him, we are all potential patients. So this, now you know why there are so many pharmacies out there. That's it from me. Thank you. And I wish you all pharmacy-free, healthy life.
Excuse me. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Bosco. A very entertaining performance, I'm sure. Please, another round of applause. And I ask again for 30 seconds for feedback, and then I will request the timers report, and then we'll have a break.
Yeah.
Could I now request the timers report for the three speeches?
Hi, everyone. First is Mufasa. She had 5 minutes and 58 seconds. And second is Michu, right? Misha, 6 minutes and 12 seconds. And third is Mr. Bosco, 7 minutes and 28 seconds. And all are qualified.
Thank you. We can now take a break. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Toastmasters may vote in this. Let's take a break. Eat, drink, be merry. We'll be about 8 minutes. People online. We're just taking a quick break, and then we'll come into table topics and the evaluated session.
He will be surprised to see me. Maybe he's surprised.
I saw it in Instagram somewhere.
No, it's still
Thank you so much.
And we can rejoin the meeting, and I'll say hello again to people online and apologize. Misha just switched on the microphone during the middle of me finishing off the proposal. You weren't static, that was just me chewing. Okay, our next part is the table topics session. Table topics is kind of a test of your ability as a speaker, because you're handed a topic and are just told to get on talking about it. Now, I would like to call our table topic master, which is Toastmaster Tisa, who describes herself as a daughter, a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter-in-law, a sister-in-law, a cousin, a colleague, and a friend, which is pretty comprehensive. Again, generally enjoys the life, believe, and I like this quote, that the best we can do, we should do the best we can do in the roles that fate assigns us. Can I call Toastmaster Tisa to the stage, who can explain the full rules of the table topic round? That stage.
Good evening, everybody. So as a table topics master, my job is to make this fun for you. And this is an impromptu session where you can come volunteer. If you don't volunteer, I'll volunteer. And come and speak about the topic for at least a minute and for 2 minutes at a time. So looking forward to smizing over a lot of speeches today. So to demonstrate, for the first topic, I would like an experienced Toastmaster here. Toastmaster Rashmi.
What's the topic?
The topic will be given once you're on stage. So,
sorry, I'm still chewing.
pick your plates. Read out the topic for you. If you could go back and change one thing about your life, what would that be?
My birth. Just joking, I'm most thankful for it. One thing. So if I want to change one thing in my life, I used to live in a bubble for quite a long time. I think because of the lack of clarity in thought, that is the one thing which I would have changed. Because thoughts are what we are. Thoughts make our life. We are formed through our thoughts. So that was the one basic thing which I kind of got wrong. So I used to have skewed thoughts. Now when we look back, it is not a big deal. I was always a happy-go-lucky fellow. I used to make good friends as well. But if at all I had a bit more clarity in what I think and perceive, a lot would have changed. My choices in life, which include my career, and a lot of other things would have changed for the better. And in life, we often come across junctions where we have to choose different pathways. Sometimes just because we did not think it through, we might have chosen the wrong way. So that is one thing which would have reduced a lot more stress, made me much more happier, made all those around me much more happier in life. And thankfully, what I am happy about is that at least for my marriage, for choosing my partner, I had a very good clarity of thought, and that I did perfectly well. So thank you. That's the one thing that I would say.
Thank you.
Because I have to go back home after this.
And it's recorded.
So that was excellent. Actually, whatever she said resonated with my life too, because a lot of times we think that if we had thought through a lot of our events better, a lot of our decisions better, we would have made better decisions. Okay, now going forward, I would like to have a guest. Please come over.
Sure.
Yeah, you will.
Sure, these are all easy topics. See, she did a full 2 minutes speech. Tell us about her movie you liked and how would you have changed it if you were the story writer? Any movie which you would have seen. Just start talking about any movie. Any movie. You can tell the story. So,
I'm actually recording it. It's been
Something you don't like also.
maybe the Titanic movie, yeah. Yeah, because the Titanic movie is so heavy in my mind. So this evening, when David called me to introduce myself, I felt like she's calling me come to the Titanic. And it's because that fear factor in it, right? So we are here for purpose. The purpose is to improve, to be a good speaker. But we want to make our fear, the monster fear as a friend, right? So when she called up, I felt like, are you really calling to be on in the Titanic? So yeah, that's all about it. So if I were in the position, so I would have changed, I did something differently. Maybe I would have been changed in a way that people will not have a fear of somebody calling to the stage and would not relate to it. I don't know, this is just something very imaginary thing which I said and all. Yeah.
what's the Titanic you would like to continue, like until he shows green?
It's done.
It's done. Thank you.
Santosh.
Yeah, well, the stage looks like Titanic too, you know?
Yeah, Titanic was a good movie. Can I have somebody from online who would like to volunteer? Anybody who is attending online, please volunteer. Do we have Charu?
Yes.
Okay, so I can't make you choose one, so you will have to just say a number and I'll pull out that sheet. So you have you can choose
third number.
third one. Okay. Among all the roles you play in life, which is your favorite and why?
Okay. We played many roles in our life, like till now, daughters, mother, student, and sister. In all the roles, I love the role I'm playing like a daughter, because whatever my father did for me, and still he is doing, I can't forget. And he's the person, I can say he's the person who is, if I close my eyes, I can see if I'm doing something wrong or something right. He's always with me. And I also try to do best thing for my father. This is, I think, best role I think I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Charu.
Thank you.
For the next topic, who would like to volunteer? Yes. You can't shine like a diamond without being cut like a diamond. It means that you don't shine unless we go through all the hardships.
Yes, I believe that because I belongs from a village, typically. And today I'm here because I shine through my career. That's a choice I make. Or else unless I would be selling the vegetables in somewhere, you know. Okay, and I believe that a diamond is not shine until it's shine. So yeah, I believe in that phrase. Thank you very much.
You have
We have
5
minutes,
until he
30
shows
seconds
the-
more. 30 seconds more, yeah. Yeah, every skills that you have to. I read somewhere it says sharpen your saw. That you sharp your saw and you spend times on your saw and you spend just 1 second to cut it. So sharpen your saw is the equivalent of a sign like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have time for. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you all the speakers. You all did a good job. Thank you very much.
Santosh.
Excuse me, will I plug myself back into the matrix? It's harder than it looks. But, okay, can I call on the timer for the timer's report?
Yeah. First is for Rashmi, 1 minute and 40 seconds. Then Santosh, 1 minute and 26 seconds. Then Charu, 45 seconds. And then Mirza, 1 minute and 5 seconds.
Thank you very much. And can we now open the voting for voting for the best of the topic speakers? Yes, I also vote. Sorry, Dan, you didn't add that. Okay, and now we will move into the evaluator section. Now, evaluation obviously is an important part of the journey through Toastmasters. If you have no idea how you look when you're speaking, you have no idea of how you can improve. So it is a very important part of the whole procedure. It is meant to help people to climb to a higher level, to improve on what were often very good performances in the first place. So could I ask our first evaluator, apologies, I'm going to butcher your name, I know I'm Abdullahi Abouassi, to come forward. He's been with Toastmasters for 8 months. He's a brother, a husband, a father, an author, a serial entrepreneur, and a venture builder. His dream again is role model to become a co-founder mentor, helping people to found their own businesses and move on with their lives. So please, you can go.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the speaker today did a fantastic speech. Here, gesture, body language, eye contact. It was really amazing. It took us through her story with excitement and in a brilliant move. She really drove and deep dive in her story and tell in full confidence. To make her speech better, from good to great, she need to work on vocal variety. In terms of the mono type of voice, to reduce the voice whenever it comes to a sadness. For example, when you talk about the conceive or the passed away of your father, your body language should not be monotized. You have to reduce your voice. Show that in your body language. You may see it this way. And unfortunately, I lost my father. And I lost, so that frequency and that energy shift that you do in your speech will take your speech to the next level. But overall, you've done a fantastic story, and I admire the most your confidence, your body language, your gesture, and the move. That was really, really a brilliant job. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And can I ask our second evaluator, Toastmaster Sarayat Mahaba, come forward. He's been with Toastmasters for 4 years and defines himself in the role as a husband. When asked what role he would rather have, he said, and I'm quoting here, I would prefer to be a footballer and gain £300,000 per week. Now, as a grammarian, a fellow Toastmaster, a fellow husband, I would advise him to substitute would also like for the word prefer, because this will lead him to live longer in this life. Good evening, Toastmaster, and see the stage for you.
Good evening. Do you have homework? Do you have job now? What a powerful start for a speech. Amazing. You immediately grab the attention of all the audience. That is the way how to start the speech. Amazing. Then you start giving us the real examples about what you have in your life, about mentoring, which is the main purpose of your speech today, is to give us an example of about your life mentoring. So you give us about the Jido, coach, master, and the business mentors in your life. That was also very good personal stories. Humor also was available in your speech, which is also an advantage to keep the audience grabbed to your speech. I have 3 recommendations for you. This first one is the pauses. Like between in your personal stories, you didn't put that wrong pauses. At least you have to put some pauses so the audience can get what you spoke first. You start with a powerful question or sentence. It is good to close it like that. And I think Yoda, there's a lot of quotes for Yoda. If you choose one to close your speech with, that would be perfect. Last one is the note in your hand. I think it was not required since you were brilliantly knowing what you're speaking about. So that note in your hand was not required. And all the best for you. And it was a great speech. Thank you.
And moving to our last Toastmaster, last evaluator, apologies, Toastmaster Ramesh Anandhaman. Thank you. who has been with Toastmasters for 15, which I'm not sure is years or months or seconds. Describes himself as a parent, a spouse, a colleague, a father, a son, a brother, a husband, a friend, a lover, a guide, hoping the husband and the lover are the same person. And would like to be Yoda, and many thanks for coming dressed as closely as possible. I would like to see the stage.
Toastmaster of the day, friends, and especially Bosco. It was fun to see the maths teacher transform into a pharmacist. And Bosco has this funny element. The moment he comes on, people know that, okay, he's going to talk something funny. So that expectation he has built up over the years, over the many humorous speech contests. In terms of the content, in terms of objectives of the speech, you need to have a series of humorous stories or anecdotes, then use them in the speech, which he did excellently. In terms of, he said that he had repeated this project, but I've not seen it, I've not heard it before, so it was fresh for me. And the way he built up the pharmacies was good. Everybody, when he started with saying that, okay, have you been to a pharmacy today? Everybody thinking about, are you sick? Is it going to be about a health-related one? And then he went on to pick up different, how the pharmacies are all over the place. And he built it up nicely. I was wondering till the end to say that, what is the potential? You are potential. Potential for what? That you have a potential to be a client, patient. So a good build up of the topic, fantastic. What Bosco could have done better? Number one, in terms of opening, have it much more energetic opening. It's very important you hook on to your audience at the earliest, because you've got all of 7 minutes. So instead of asking, saying, oh, have you been to a pharmacy? Has anybody been to a pharmacy today? And then everybody, or it can even, does not even, it's not Bosco's style to kind of screen. You can even put in, has anybody been to a pharmacy today? The objective is to grab their attention with a first, you can do it multiple ways. That was one. The second is in terms of engaging the audience. Okay, there are sufficient good opportunities to engage the audience. You spoke about the pharmacy, and then you have a grocery store, you have a pharmacy, you have a beauty salon, you have a pharmacy. That is where you could have engaged the audience with the voice modulation appropriately and say that, okay, when they come, they said, what next you have? Everybody will say pharmacy. Okay, it's very important to have the audience engaged. These are the two suggestions I would give you, Bosco. Otherwise, overall, we're expecting more from the person who taught us mathematics. 10 into 10 into 10 is what? Thank you.
It's very interesting. You see both speaker and the environment producing genuine smiles amongst the audience. I got it. Yes, the timekeeper for the report, please.
First is Mr. Abdulati, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Then Mr. Saleh, exactly 2 minutes. And then Mr. Ramesh, exactly 3 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Can we open the? Thank you very much. So we move on further with the report. We are Toastmaster Abraham, who has been with Toastmasters 6 months, is a parent, but would like to be a TV program presenter.
This is actually my first role in Toastmaster. And regarding the amount of today, Toastmaster Rashid Hussein, two-time. First speaker Mahaza. She had only one. Saleh, 0. Toastmaster Korshian, 0. Toastmaster Tosco, 0. Regarding the topic table, first one, 0, number 2, 1, third, 5 times, and the last one is
can I request the grammarian's report? Our grammarian speaking is Toastmaster Sabil Barak Kunumal, who is a son, father, a husband, a brother, a teacher, a friend, and would like to be Superman because he's powerful, handsome, can fly. Is a reformer, especially in the area of fashion, and is unique and
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I have been learning from the wonderful presentation of the wonderful role players. So I learned some new words and idioms like cup of tea. Thank you very much. But I've noticed some common mistakes and some errors. So I would like to just correct together. First of all, this is a common mistake, and we often use that. One of, then after the noun should be plural, because one of my friends, but we often use one of my friend. I have a lot of friends, among them one. So one of the clubs and one of two. Okay. If we have only one, so no need to say one of. But if you have many and among them one, so one of, then the following noun should be plural. Then another one, people itself is a plural noun, so no need to make S to make it plural. Means peoples. Some we use by mistake peoples, but people itself is plural. But we can make it peoples when we use apostrophe S, people's party. Okay. Another, yeah, knowledge and attitude, not is or, because the subject is here plural, as knowledge and attitude are important. And yeah. When we explain past incidents, we should use the past tense of verb. Example, used. I mean, for example, if you're explaining something happened in the past, use is present of the verb, and we should use used instead of use. I moved to a different village where I don't. Instead of that, I did not have any instruction because it's a past incident or event. And when I go back, instead of that, when I went back, I have to wait, as it is a past generation. You could use I had to wait. I had to wait is present, and I had to wait. I did not gave up. That's wrong, because I gave up. This is a statement. When you make that question or interrogative sentence, I mean a negative one, I did not give up. I did not see. I saw. I did not see. As it's a simple past tense. Then I live 8 years. 2 ways we can say. I have been living here 8 years, or I have lived here 8 years. But I live is a simple present tense that we use in a different situation. And I belong. Someone used I belongs, not I belong. We belong, you and he belongs, it belongs, etc. So that is what I have noticed. Thank you very much. Over to you.
And to the last of our reports. Now, having stressed at the beginning that the roles are a very important part of the whole Toastmasters experience, it would be words, it would be wrong, even there were no evaluation of the roles. And for this task, we have our general evaluator, Anita Beattie, who has been with Toastmasters for 4 years.
Wordmaster.
Oh, my apologies. Thank you for keeping me in line. Wordmaster, please could I ask the Wordmaster to come to the stage to give us the
Today's word was smice. Today's word was smice. And two of our brave speakers use this one. Speaker number 1, Toastmaster Mafaza, and speaker number 3, Toastmaster Vasco. So I encourage all others to use in the meetings and in your personal life. Thank you.
Let me not pretend that I've not done that before, but I have done that before. So can I ask Toastmaster Anita Beattie, who is a daughter, a mother, a wife, a sister, a friend, a daughter-in-law, a sister-in-law, an aunt, a teacher, a counsellor, a coach, to come to the stage to present the overall general evaluation.
Thank you, dear Modi. Now, apart from the characters, which is fixed in our life, we usually get surprise calls in our life. That can be tough sometimes and challenging. And when we successfully done this role, maybe that can be the most successful things in our life. So today, let us go through the roles which we have done here in this meeting room. So, meeting room was open well before the time. VP Education and our technical manager, Toastmaster Misha, and everyone was here. And because of the technical glitches, our meeting started almost 12 minutes late. It's okay. Guests were warmly welcomed by everyone. I could see our Toastmaster Bosco, our experienced, our leader, Kenel Murad, also explaining the guests about the roles and meetings. So this is what our leaders are giving as an example for us. Now the meeting started at 6:57 instead of 6:45. And our essay, Toastmasters, gracefully started explain the rules, the timing, rules and definition, and welcome to everyone. And the surprise volunteer as a president, our acting president, Mr. Master TV. She welcomed the president with confidence, and we are so happy seeing our education in the stage. And the president did her impromptu role very well, and her story was inspiring. So she has to keep a habit of giving rather than taking. This great message with the education active president and that. Now she properly introduced all the guests, then introduced our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Bo. And thank you for this wonderful topic. He explained the topic well. Maybe I will come back to you later. Then let me start with, before going to the word master, he explained wisdom comes from experience, and experience comes from lack of wisdom. This gives me more strength to stand here. I'm experiencing, I'm trying to make my speech, my public speaking better. So thanks for that. Now our word master. Word master, Toastmaster Rashid. Toastmaster Rashid introduced his word with a smile. Thank you for that. So everyone was happy to hear that word. And next was our first speaker, Toastmaster Vasa. This was her second speech, but we didn't feel that, right? So this evaluators have done perfect evaluation. So I'm not explaining about your speech. Congratulations and all the best for your next speech. Then I think your title, only one thing is that your title was too long. I felt if it is crisp, then it will be more resonating with us. And okay, I will explain that every day. The next speaker, Toastmaster Vishnu. Looking Yoda. I just Googled what is the meaning of Yoda because for us Yoda is barrier, and then I understood one who knows well. You are searching for someone who knows well, so that somebody will direct you in a good way. Great, good speech, and all the best for your next speech. I'm not telling anything about the speech. Now, Toastmaster Bosco. Thank you, Toastmaster Bosco, for that entertaining speech. Now, table topic master, Tisapur. Simple topic. You invited the experienced Toastmaster as the first speaker. Well done. And all the speeches was, all the topics were simple, so that speakers can speak well about that topic. Only one thing that I felt was, you could have explained what table topic is all about and its timing, so that all the guests will get an idea, and that can be inspiration for them to come forward and take the topics. Now, let us go to the evaluation part. Toastmaster Abdulati. Yeah. This evaluation was done perfectly, but I felt if there is a order of giving the in speech, well done that you without any notes, you came here and you did your evaluation. But why we are giving the evaluation is that for helping our speakers. So if we give the evaluation as our DTM Ramesh Anandaraman, he did perfectly. So that was like what he liked in his speech, what are the good points, and where we can, the speaker can improve, and the summary. That order, if we are giving it the evaluation, that would be better, that will be helpful for the speakers. And Toastmaster Saleh, and he's not here now, he's an experienced Toastmaster. I felt he could also have been a structure in his evaluation that would be better. And DTM Ramesh Anandaraman is a role model for all of us. So, well done. Then we had our timer, a meticulous timer. Oh, he's showing me the green light. Thank you. He did his your role well done. And the grammarian Toastmaster Shabir, he took a grammar class. Thank you, teacher. He's a teacher. Thank you for that. Now the grammarian, yeah, that's over. Now let me come to the word master. I think more than 2 times we use the word smiles.
Yeah.
So you have to have you have to write and put the numbers there. Okay, that's
Perfect.
I don't know who. I didn't count properly, but it's more than 2. And for the TA movie, I have put some. So TA movie, that was great. Team. Everyone prepared well and came. And this I got from Toastmaster Devi. She said, if you put this, you will look nice. So I put like an insulation. Yeah. Thank you for that. Then TMO. He explained his topic well, and he used the role is encourage the speakers after each speech. He congratulated the speakers and encouraged so that we also felt that next meeting I will take a speech role, and so that Modi will help us with good points. Then a lot of research has been done, a lot of work has been done, so we could see a lot of slides here. One thing I felt in this topic, you had a very long intro about because we lost 10 minutes in the beginning. The TMOD had the one who control the time and the whole meeting. So even though we have a lot of content with us, our main purpose as a TMOD is to welcome the speakers. So you can cut down our topics and give the speakers, and my main purpose is to control the timing of this entirely. And one more thing is, when we introduce the speakers, we have to remember their topics, title of the speech before the speech. Other than that, perfect. Thank you for this topic and the research and learning you got. So all the role players, well done, and let us take more roles so that we will improve in each meeting. Thank you, and over to you.
Can I ask for the voting to be opened for the best role player? Can I just check that is open to Toastmasters or to everyone? Open to everyone. So guess only Toastmasters. Yeah. So Toastmasters, please, if you could join the vote and vote for best role player of the evening.
So the votes are launched.
That is launched. Right. Okay, wrapping up fairly quickly because we're more or less at the end of our meeting. I did have a story, it's a bit of a long story, which is going to go out of the window a little bit because we have to get this meeting closed up fairly shortly. It is to do with the fact that some of our members tonight opted not to choose a fictional character to model themselves on. I have a story of 2 people who auditioned for a part in a Shakespeare play. It was Macbeth. One of them is a well-known actor in our university. He's very popular, he's very handsome, he's very big. Another is a person who used to be called Saigita and is now called Cedric. Both of them auditioned with the same scene, the scene where Macbeth comes to report to his wife that he's just killed the king. One of the servants woke up and said, "God bless us," and the other one mumbled in his sleep, "Amen." And Macbeth reports he could not say amen. Now, one of our handsome actors read this through as if it were just a set of grammatically constructed words. The other one read it through as though it was life, because Saigita, changing into Cedric, lives this question. The meaning of the question is, why am I not like other people? Why am I not like I think I should be? And Saigita Cedric was able to embody what we, the producers, thought would be a perfect Macbeth, because this is the question Macbeth wants. Acting that part did not come over convincingly. It was very Shakespearean, it was done in a loud voice, it was done in a dramatic way, but it didn't convince anybody in quite the same way. So the final message of the meeting really is that you bring to the roles that you play only the things which you can genuinely act, which is yourself. You cannot be another person. You can only be yourself in another position. So for all the roles that we have, all the connections which we have with other people, the one thing that we could only hope for is that we are genuine in that. And with that note, I would like to pass you back to our acting president. Oh, in a minute. I got 1 more minute to speak. I got to my full stop just a tiny bit early there. I would like to thank all of our role players this evening for their participation in the activity. Can I say that this is my Doctor Who outfit? It may not be familiar to anybody, but Doctor Who is a 57-year-old series. I watched the very first episode when I was 5 years old. I am that old. It produced a tattoo, which I now have on my arm, which is relevant to this evening. The quote is, "We are all stories in the end, just make it a good one." And on that note, I definitely have to pass it over to our president for the day.
Let me get into my character.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to our meeting today, and although we were lagging, I think he's finishing it on time. So a round of applause. Delays, let me start the awards and achievements.
From here, once, please.
So guest feedback, can I call you again, Santosh? And tell us, what did you think about the meeting? Come back into the Titanic, please.
Sure.
This will only boost your confidence.
Saying that. Well, I really liked it, the kind of exposure, the kind of experience everyone has got, and especially Timothy, what he said about lack of thing, experience to wisdom. So when I go home, it's all about getting the wisdom. So thank you for bringing up this interesting atmosphere here, and I'm looking forward to be part of, be a member of the host.
Thank you so much. Thank you to see in our Titanic. Wisdom. So tell us, what did you think about it?
I really like the ambience, and people looks really professional. And since I don't know about the Toastmasters Club, and I have been just hearing about all this thing, but I really like the ambience and the environment and people's energy, and looking forward to be a part of this. So
thank you so much, Mr. And so many guests online. So let's quickly move on with the awards. Our first award, the best role player. Before I tell you about who the best role player is, now in Dubai Toastmasters Club, we don't normally nominate the Toastmaster of the day. For some reason, whatever the Toastmaster of the day is not part of the nominations for the best role player. So without being a nomination, still I got so many votes for Toastmaster Bob. So let's give a round of applause. Best role player today goes to Next,
Oh my gosh.
we have the best table topic speaker, who is our angel, Toastmaster Rashmi. And next is our best evaluator, none other than Yoda. And the best speaker, it was very tough. I was putting 111, 111, 111. It was a very close competition, but the best speaker goes to our sweet Toastmaster. Welcome. Okay, next. We want to welcome our two new members. One is Toastmaster Soham, who is a new member, a week old, and he's taken the role today of the festival. Thank Toastmaster Kareem also, who is an online timer today. So give a round of applause. Remember Toastmaster Pawan, who's not here today because he was busy. He's our new Toastmaster. Our next meeting is on the 11th of April. Our Toastmaster for the day is Dr. Devinder Kapoor, and the theme is the Chatterbox. Within, yeah. Okay, so this covers half my eyes. Okay, so because of Ramadan, due to Ramadan, the next two meetings in April would be online, purely online, not physical. And then we'll come back to our physical meetings in the month of May. Okay, so that's it for me.